This chapter is meant to be an introduction to the question of participation, social participation more specifically, in connection to the questions that arise from the problematics of the commons. So first of all, there is an attempt to describe the problems of participation itself. They have to do with scale, but they also have to do with the characteristics of the subjects which actually participate. So first of all, let us see what participation might mean in terms of scale. We have cases in which participation has to do with a local scale, neighborhood scale, or cases in which the involvement of people in decision-making processes concerning the city is connected to forms of negotiation with the municipal authorities. In the chapter, there is an effort to somehow deal with the problems that arise from this process. More specifically, there is a reference to the very important and interesting examples of Napoli urban commons, in which forms of participation in decisions that have to do with the social use of properties that belong to a municipality is connected to negotiations with the municipality itself. Of course, in this case, the municipality was very much interested in actually forming this alliance with initiatives coming from the city, and the result is interestingly very important in showing that democracy can at least be achieved through a negotiation between existing institutions and citizen initiatives. So on the second, let's say, area of problematization of participation, we can distinguish between what the Farzaneh has suggested, invented and invited participation. In this case, we should keep this distinction in order to actually explore the potentialities that arise mainly from participation that comes from initiatives, citizen initiatives, therefore a kind of invented participation in which actually people living in cities try to get their lives in their hands. So invented participation is mainly formal participation that actually creates new forms of governance, less hierarchical, more dispersed forms of power relations, and therefore more democratic. Invited participation obviously has to do with specific institutions, state or local states, which usually ask people to express opinions, but more often than not, simply use those opinions to, in a way, legitimate already taken decisions. From the problem of participation, we can reach the problem of commoning or sharing, in which the forms through which participation evolves is more near to the idea of choosing, deciding, and producing spaces that are necessary for common life, for life understood as a collective endeavor rather than as an individualist question. We should keep the term urban commoning as a term that describes forms through which a specific urban community decides what is to be shared and how. Therefore, in a way, becoming a concrete manifestation of the demand and the performance of the right to the city. This is the last part of the chapter in which urban commoning is understood as a kind of democratic and extended in terms of participation form through which people actually can demand the right to not simply inhabit the city but also shape the city.